When I first turned 18, I packed up everything I had and moved to Miami, Florida. My home life wasn't exactly healthy. My parents were overbearing, constantly on my case about what I wore, who I talked to, how late I stayed out. I could not breathe without being questioned, and once I turned 18, I left. Now, people will judge me, but I started an OnlyFans account right after I turned 18. I did not sleep with anyone on camera, but I did post new content. I figured I was young, legal, and could make good money doing it. And I did. Within 3 months, I was making close to $10,000 a month. That's when I made the move to Miami and got my first apartment. Up until then, I had been only using my phone for content. But I knew if I wanted to keep growing, I needed higher quality. A few girls I talked to online recommended a guy named Colton. He was based in Miami and had worked with several other OnlyFans creators. His portfolio was impressive, and when we finally met, he came off as really professional. Colton was in his mid-20s, tall, clean-cut, built like he worked out every day. He was also smooth, not in a sleazy way at first, just confident and put together. I was nervous the first time I did a shoot with him. Being naked in front of someone I don't know was weird, but he made it seem like it was no big deal. He kept it professional. He gave me a lot of direction and even complimented me on how well I posed. I noticed after I started working with him, my subscriber count jumped, and so did my income. So when he invited me to a party at his penthouse, I did not hesitate. He told me there'd be other OnlyFans girls there, and it'd be a good networking opportunity. The party was on a Friday night, and when I showed up, I'll admit it, I was impressed. His penthouse had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, marble floors, and what looked like a full bar. But the second I stepped inside, I noticed something off. I was the only girl there. It was just Colton and 5 other men, all probably in their 40s or 50s. I instantly felt uncomfortable. I asked Colton where the other girls were, and he laughed and said that they were on their way. I wanted to believe him, but something didn't feel right. The older guy started making conversation with me, asking what I did, if I was actually 18, and how long I'd been in Miami. Then they offered me drinks. I told them I didn't drink, and that I wasn't even old enough to, legally. One of them laughed and said, "You look older than 18 to me," and handed me a glass anyway. I set it down without touching it. I stayed for maybe 30 more minutes, but no other girls ever showed up. The guys kept trying to get me to drink, trying to get close, and Colton kept disappearing in and out of the main room. When he came back, he told me he wanted to show me his new camera setup, and said it was in the bedroom, and that I love it. That's when I noticed all 5 of the men had walked into the bedroom already. Everything in me told me to leave. I told Colton I wasn't feeling well and needed to go. He gave me this look, like I was ruining something, and said, "Just come check it out real quick." I did not say another word. I grabbed my purse and walked straight to the elevator. My heart was literally pounding. I was sweating and could barely think straight. I hit the button to go down, and just as the door started to close, I saw all 5 of the men running down the hallway toward me. I hit the door close button so fast I almost broke it. The elevator closed just in time, and when I got to the bottom, I bolted through the lobby and outside. Thankfully, there were people out front. I did not stop running until I got to my car. When I got home, I had a text from Colton. It said, "Only the good die young." I blocked him immediately. I did not respond. I did not say anything to anyone. But within a week, I broke my lease and got an apartment in Tampa. It was smaller, more low-key, but I felt safer. I never worked with another photographer again. I shoot all of my content alone now, in my apartment, with the blinds closed and the doors locked. I never tell anyone where I live, not even the delivery guys. That night could have gone very differently, and I've never stopped thinking about it. Lesson learned. Last year, I took my girlfriend and her 2 friends down to Miami for the Taylor Swift concert. They're all die-hard fans, and I figured it would be a cool gesture. I booked a nice Airbnb about 10 minutes from the stadium. We got there 3 days before the show, so we could enjoy the beach and try out some local restaurants. It was actually a fun trip, even for someone who doesn't care for Taylor Swift like I do. The day of the concert, though, I woke up feeling awful. I had chills, was throwing up, and couldn't keep anything down. I assumed it was something I ate or maybe a stomach bug. I spent most of the day lying on the couch trying to sleep it off. About 4 hours before they had to leave, I still felt horrible, so I told them to go without me. I'd stay at the Airbnb and rest. They got ready, kissed me goodbye, and left. I threw on a movie and tried to relax. At some point, I must have passed out. When I woke up, the living room was dark, and I could tell it was nighttime. I assumed they were still at the concert, or maybe out drinking after. But the second I stood up to go to the bathroom, something felt off. The front door was wide open. I immediately froze. I knew for a fact it was closed when they left. I hadn't touched it all day. The door had one of those vertical windows at the top half, and through that glass, I could see what looked like a silhouette of someone standing just outside of it. It looked like a woman or a girl. They were so close, their shape filled the entire window. I stood there in the hallway, not knowing what to do. I called out for my girlfriend, just in case they had come back early for some reason. No response. A few seconds later, the door slowly started to close. I did not move. The light from outside faded once the door clicked shut, and now I couldn't see anything. That's when I heard the footsteps, fast ones, running inside the Airbnb. I panicked. I ran to the bathroom and locked myself inside. My phone was on the counter. I grabbed it and pulled up my girlfriend's location. She was still at the stadium. My first thought was maybe one of her friends came back early, but I had no idea why they would do that and not say anything. Then the doorknob started to jiggle. I did not even breathe. I sat on the closed toilet, staring at the door. I said her friend's name. Allie. Nothing. I then yelled that they need to leave right now, or I'm going to fight them. That was a lie. I could barely stand without feeling dizzy, let alone throw punches, but I had no other defense. Eventually, the jiggling stopped. I sat in that bathroom for at least 30 minutes before I even dared to open the door. When I finally did, the whole place was dead quiet, but the front door was open again. I rushed over, shut it, and locked it. Then I flipped on every single light. I checked every room, closets, under beds, behind the shower curtains, even inside cabinets. Nothing. No sign anyone had been there. I called my girlfriend over and over. She was not answering. When they finally came home around 1 a.m., they were drunk and loud and barely listened to what I was saying. I asked them directly if anyone had come back to the Airbnb during the concert. They all laughed and said no, and did not seem to get how serious I was. It wasn't until the next morning, when everyone sobered up, that they started to take it more seriously. The front door being open, the silhouette, the footsteps, the jiggling doorknob. it started to freak them out too. We all agreed it was best to cut the trip short and head home. To this day, I don't know who that was in my Airbnb with me or what they wanted. I don't know if it was a break-in, someone watching the house, or if I was targeted for some reason. All I know is that it wasn't a dream, and it wasn't my imagination. I've never felt more vulnerable or alone in my whole life. Whoever it was never came back, but I still think about that figure in the window every time I stay anywhere that is not my home. Last year, me and my best friend Alyssa took a trip down to Miami for the weekend. The idea wasn't mine, it was hers. Her and her boyfriend had just broken up. Technically, he dumped her after finding out she cheated. Alyssa swore up and down that she did nothing wrong, which is wild, but whatever. I just needed a break, and she needed a rebound. We booked a spot in North Miami, cute little Airbnb near the beach. My plan was simple: work on my tan, sip a few drinks, maybe read a book and chill. Alyssa had other plans. She made it very clear she wanted to meet men, and I made it equally clear I wasn't interested in doing the whole bar scene with her. She was fine with that. We were both adults doing our own thing. Day one was smooth. We hit the beach, drank White Claws, played music. Alyssa wore this bikini that was basically dental floss. I'm not judging, but she might as well have walked around naked. Obviously, it drew attention. A bunch of guys came over to us. Some she ignored, some she flirted with. One guy in particular, James, got her number. He was tall, tan, and honestly kind of sleazy. He hit on me too, which I immediately shut down. I'm not into guys like that, especially ones already eyeing my best friend. Day two was more beach. Around mid-afternoon, I was beat from the sun and suggested that we head back. I made us dinner, trying to have a chill night in. During dinner, Alyssa casually mentioned she had invited James over. I gave her a look. I wasn't trying to lecture her. She's grown, but inviting a stranger over while we're out of town just didn't seem right. Still, I stayed out of it. He showed up maybe an hour later. I nodded at him and went to my room. I wasn't trying to play third wheel. I put on my headphones, played my audiobook, and just laid there. At some point, I heard them having sex. Loud sex. I cranked up the volume and eventually fell asleep. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night. My headphones were still in, the book still playing, but something was wrong. You know that uneasy feeling in your gut? And that's what I had. I took out one headphone and sat up. That's when I saw him, James, standing in my bedroom doorway. He was only wearing boxers. I froze. He just stood there smirking, then said, "Usually the friends want me too, so what's up?" I was speechless. I said, "I'm not into this. Get out." He stepped into my room a little further and said, "Oh, come on, baby. You'll like it just like your friend did." My heart was pounding. My stomach dropped. I did not think. I just screamed, as loud as I could, like someone was stabbing me. It was the only thing I could think to do. His face instantly changed. The cocky smile vanished. Panic hit him. He bolted, ran down the hallway. I heard the front door swing open. Seconds later, Alyssa ran into my room, literally naked, looking like she just saw a ghost. "What happened? What's going on?" she said. I told her what James just tried to do. Her jaw dropped. She started crying and kept repeating, "Oh my God," over and over. She tried calling him, but he did not answer. We locked all the doors and windows, pushed a chair up under the doorknob, sat in the living room all night with kitchen knives in our hands. Neither of us slept. The next morning, Alyssa got a text from him. Not an apology, not a sorry I was drunk. No, he asked if we wanted to have a threesome. I don't even know what to say to that. I couldn't believe how gross and bold he was. And I was even more shocked Alyssa ever thought it was okay to invite a guy like that over. She swore she had no idea he was like that. I kinda believe her, but still, it ruined the whole trip for me. We did not see him again, did not go back to the beach. We stayed inside the rest of the weekend and flew home 2 days later. I haven't talked to Alyssa much since then. Not because I blame her for what happened, but because I think we're just in different places now. Also, I'm still single, so if you know any non-psycho guys, feel free to send them my way.